Welcome back. Let's now examine some of those issues pertaining to Nigeria's population growth. And now I'm being joined on the News at 10 by a lecturer in population and development at the University of Lagos, Dr. Alex Uriri. I want to thank you so much indeed for joining us on the News at 10. What do you make of the United Nations Population Fund's report that is putting Nigeria's population at 201 million?
Well, thanks for inviting me. It calls to question the critical importance of the place of population in development planning and in determining the power of a state. The population factor brings to question the issue of the fact that we are the giant of Africa and there is a huge population with low quality education. It brings to mind the issue of the fact that the effective population needs to be managed, and it brings to mind the issue of the politics of numbers that is irrevocably linked with the politics of power. The Section 153 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria establishes the National Population Commission that monitors the population policy implementation. This figure given by the World Bank, or by the Population Commission, the report of 201, is an indictment on the leadership of the country and the leadership of the National Population Commission that is concerned. We don't know our numbers, and it's a pitiable situation. We don't know our numbers. We've moved from the pitiable state of mere estimates to a place of guesstimate, just guesses, and a country that fails to plan to fail. That is the implication. But
we have this figure that the United Nations Population Funds puts the number at 201. Is that a guess number?
Is an estimate. We do not know our numbers because we are not even concerned about the absolute number of population. The major problem that brings to question the population dilemma is the rate of growth, which is about 3.3 now, and the momentum created by the age structure, the young population that we have. And like I told you, because we don't know our numbers, I teach my students elementary introductory demography, the issue of the characteristics of what makes the census, periodicity. The census we had in 1991 that made us to have 88.5 billion population. And that of 2006 of 140 million, thereabout. We are supposed to conduct a census decennially. That characteristic of periodicity, we defy it in Nigeria. And that makes us a laughing stock because we tend to operate at the level of theater of absurdities.
How best can the situation? How our population, we're looking at this figure now, and we still have some other estimations, if you will. Our population is expected to rise to about 400 million by the year 2050. Does this call for concern again, considering that there are policies that this government, and I can imagine all the previous administrations have put in place to ensure that we are having this population that is also sustainable?
Yes, it calls for serious concern because with that projection or estimate, as it were, we could liken the population problem to that of a thunderstorm, a protracted thunderstorm, likened to an explosion. A thunderstorm stays with us, deluges us, and makes us to have plenty of problems that have impacts on education, on health, on social security, on national security, on food security, and a host of other infrastructural provisions. And it calls to question the development agenda. That is what it brings to mind. It's a wake-up call. Because if you look at the MDGs that ended in 2015, 7 of those goals are directly related to population issues, from poverty to universal basic education to issues of gender equality, to issues of improving child and infant health, to maternal mortality, and issues of HIV, malaria. Is an aberration that in the 21st century we have malaria still killing us, the Nigerian population, in large numbers. This calls to question the issue of leadership, both at the executive level, because the National Population Commission, established by law, by the Constitution, Section 153, and the various provisions of what it should do. The population policy we've had, they are very docile, and they need to be, it calls for population management to balance the issues of population and resources. That is the missing link.
That's a place,
Yes.
good place to let it rest.
Yes.
I must thank you so much indeed, Dr. Alex Uriri of the University of Lagos, a lecturer in population and development. Many thanks indeed for talking to us.
Thanks for inviting.
The Anambra State government has constructed access roads across swamps in the riverine areas of Anambra North Senatorial zone of the state. But the governor is appealing to members of the community for their cooperation with the construction workers, as he will deal decisively with anyone that tries to molest them.
Governor Willie Obiano on an inspection tour of EQUITIES, Ezeagolu, Aguleri, Nando Road to ascertain the level of work done on the 9.5-kilometer stretch of road. This project is expected to open up several communities through link roads when it is completed next year.
His Excellency, my intent is that this road goes across farms and it joins communities. This road will equally join two local governments, Anambra East and Ayam local government. This road is equally a shortcut if we are going to Soka or Enugu states or the north.
His next stop is this 2.9-kilometer road that runs through Nando, Aguleri to Adani. Here, the Commissioner for Works and the contractor highlight some of the challenges faced.
The road was awarded in 2018 to IDC Construction Company. And we've fully mobilized IDC, and they are doing very well, His Excellency. And His Excellency, I want to tell you that the community, they are very cooperative. We had issues initially with crop compensation, and it is sorted out.
This road passes through a swampy area, and thank God we have finished the culverts and the filling and the concrete work. And we are planning to allow the earthwork to rest, and by the beginning of the dry season, we'll lay the asphalt.
The governor, who seems impressed with the work done, appeals to the members of a community not to molest the construction workers.
So progress is coming gradually all over the place, and we thank God for that. I will encourage you to keep supporting the expatriates that are working here. They are doing great work in this environment, and you must support them, protect their interests, and prevent any form of theft of their equipment or anything, or to them, any threats to their person or anything. I will deal ruthlessly with anybody that tries to molest any of the side people working here.
Having mobilized the contractors, community members now look forward to the completion of the project in record time.
To health stories now, more than 1.6 million children and over 600,000 women in Niger State, mostly in the rural areas, are to benefit from the federal government's Basic Healthcare Provision Fund. Under the scheme, free medical services will be provided to the poor and most vulnerable members of the society. The Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewale, says that 1 million malaria cases will be tackled through the initiative, in addition to the provision of antenatal and postnatal services to pregnant women. Our correspondent, Emperor Simon, reports.
The Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewale, accompanied by the Deputy Governor and other top government functionaries, to kickstart the implementation of the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund, beginning with the symbolic enrollment of some of the beneficiaries. Under the scheme, free medical services will be provided to the poor and most vulnerable members of the society. The Basic Healthcare Provision Fund, according to the minister, is in line with the economic and growth plan of the federal government.
The health indices will change, our women will stop dying because they will no longer deliver at home, our babies will survive, and Nigeria will come out of the League of Nations where women die in pregnancy and during labor. And we can be sure that we'll bring down malaria, we will make sure that all vaccine preventable illnesses are taken care of, and the life expectancy will increase. But what is unique is that for the first time in the history of Nigeria, money will flow from central bank to this facility without stopping at anywhere. And there will be two signatories to the account, the head of this facility and the chairman of the World Development Committee, and they will have money remitted to them every month.
The launch of the health scheme also comes with the unveiling of equipment procured by state government to enhance the activities of extension health workers in rural communities.
So we got into the glory of God and for the improvement of medical delivery in Niger State.
The equipment include 4 vehicles, 68 motorcycles, and 15 vaccination fridges. The state deputy governor and the commissioner for health speak on the impact to the health sector.
We are really excited and very happy that our health sector has now improved to some certain level that we hope by having some of this intervention funding again, we're able to improve on it.
70% and 60% respectively of the work of the community health extension worker and the junior community health extension worker is supposed to be spent at the community level, to go to the community level to directly provide services. So the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund will take care of this gap, and which I think will ensure that no one will be left behind.
As a partner of the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund, the state government is expected to pay a counterpart fund of 100 million naira, in addition to the provisional facilities that will enable effective implementation of the scheme. Emperor Simon, Channels Television News.
And staying with the health sector, 31 people have graduated from the 2019 Genetic Counseling Training course on sickle cell disorders in Lagos. The occasion, which held at the premises of the Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria, was the culmination of 2 weeks of training supported by MultiChoice Nigeria. Our correspondent, Mary Alala Yusuf, reports.
It's a joyous day for graduates of the 18th counseling class and their instructors from the National Sickle Cell Foundation. Among them are doctors, nurses, social workers and others from all over the country and beyond.
As I speak so much, I have a problem.
2 weeks of intensive training in counseling methods for people with sickle cell disorder and people who are at risk of having children with the condition have come to an end. It's not a day for speeches, but the National Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Foundation reiterates her expectations for continuity.
I know that this is, when you go back to your various locations, you talk about this program, not just talk about it, you will train others. We're also looking out for the opportunity, we're looking at a few of you who will come and support the core trainers.
Staff and students are particularly pleased because it's been 5 years since the last training was held. Participants get certificates. Prizes also go to 3 outstanding students. Sickle cell is the most common inherited hemoglobin disorder. It causes anemia and other unpleasant and sometimes life-threatening conditions. According to the foundation, in Nigeria, it affects 2 out of every 100 newborns, and it persists because carriers who are not affected bear children with the disorder. Counseling, therefore, is a major aspect of its management.
Genetic counseling is the provision of accurate, full, unbiased information in a caring relationship that offers guidance but allows the individual and the affected individual and their families to make their own decisions.
I have learned honestly with compassion on how to take care of these ones. And for these already known carriers of these disorders, there are so many people out there who are not even known.
The Sickle Cell Foundation hopes to have more regular counseling classes to churn out graduates who will train others around the country so that the huge sickle cell burden in Africa will be better managed. Mary Alala Yusuf, Channels Television News.
You're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, reaching you live from Lagos. Let's shift our gears now, shall we, to business news with Kayode Okikiolu.
Thank you, Gimba, and you're welcome to Business News. Induced sell pressure and the quest for economic policy stimulant has pushed Nigeria's stock market to a 2-year low. The domestic bourse's main share index fell 0.17% to 28,847.81 on Friday, a similar level last recorded in May 2017, while the year-to-date loss currently stands at 8.23%. The persistent downturn on the NSE comes as investors await the Central Bank's Monetary Policy Committee's third-rate decision meeting for 2019, which is set to hold amid concerns that MPC may retain its tight liquidity stance. CBN's Monetary Policy Committee is expected to hold its two-day meeting on May the 20th and the 21st. Still on the stock markets, the first full week of May ended in the red after intense sell pressure in key blue-chip components dominated all 5 trading sessions. The NSE's benchmark index dipped by 1.25%, while total value of listed equities dropped by over 135 billion naira this week. The oil and gas sector got the heaviest beating on the sectoral performance chart as it fell by 5.29%, just as 5 sectoral sub-indexes also closed lower. Better Glass is best performer among 18 gainers. Gold-Link Insurance is worst among 49 losers, while 101 equities remained unchanged. Meanwhile, a total turnover of 1.47 billion shares worth 10.87 billion naira were traded in 20,740 deals, while the shares of Access Bank, Courtville and UBA are the top 3 traded or actively traded stocks for the week. Ahead of the April 2019 inflation figures released by the National Bureau of Statistics, research analysts are predicting a further deceleration in Nigeria's consumer price index to 11.23%. Economist and head of research at FSDH Merchant, Mr. Ayodele Akiomi, however, notes that the contraction could be marred by some 2 basis point movement if petrol subsidies are removed.
Research expects the April 2019 inflation rate to drop marginally to 11.23 from 11.25 in the month of May. Inflation rate may remain in the low double digits in the remainder part of 2019. However, possible adjustment to the pump price of premium motor spirit and electricity tariff may shift the inflation curve by 2.5%. We had discussed this one a couple of times, and we think it may likely happen.
Thank you for watching Business News Tonight. I am Kayode Okikelu. The news at 10 continues with Gimba.
Brilliant, and thanks indeed, Kayode. Still ahead on the news at 10, champions Manchester City and Liverpool take title race to the last day as the English Premier League season draws to a close tomorrow. That's the sports news. Stay with us.